I am doing good, just always tired. We had Eleanor's 18-month checkup this week,
Mm.
and it is getting harder and harder and harder to take her to the doctors. And I know there has to be moms, dads, parents out there who resonate with this in my experience because she still is stranger danger. Now she's way better than she's been on that front,
Mhm.
but the doctors I feel like is a reoccurring negative space for her. So you go in and somebody is kind of handling you, you end up getting a shot. So I think she has such a negative association with it on top of just like that intense stranger danger. So it's like immediately we get into the room and the nurse comes in and she just breaks down. Like she won't even let you put her on the weigher to get weighed. She won't even let the doctor or the nurse try to get her temperature by putting the thermometer under her arm, which I was telling Rob, I'm like, why don't they use the ones where they like check with the gun against the head so you don't have to touch? Unless those are like less accurate, but I'm like, come on.
I think they are less accurate.
But yeah, it was like it's so rough. In the appointment was at 1:30, which was like in the middle of her nap because last appointment was at is it 15 months before that? And she was still on two naps. And we had it at a time that was like on her nap. So we're like, oh, we'll put it at 1:30. We'll be fine. But then she moved to a one nap schedule. So we were just all thrown off. But honestly, like, I dread taking her to the doctors because of how upset she just cries the whole time. She's just like fighting. She's so much more independent and aware and knowing so that like once we get into that room it's just like a major breakdown and it's just really hard on all of us. But good news, we got our final vaccination shot until I think 4, she
Oh,
said,
that's good.
which is like amazing. Because that first 18 months, I think she got one almost every visit. I think maybe there was one visit she didn't, but almost every visit she's getting those shots. And that's like one of the worst parts. Because now that she's moving, we have to like physically restrain her and hold her down. Oh my God, it's rough. It's so rough.
And I'm sure she hates being like held down too.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Axel's like the same when like the nurse comes in, he's like, "Who are you? Why am I here?" He doesn't really like going and getting weighed, but I don't know. And I was going to ask you this, do you have the same doctor every time
Yeah,
or
we have
is
the
it a
same
different doctor?
doctor. Yeah, we see the same
Okay.
pediatrician, but the nurse alternates. So that person's always different.
Yeah, yeah, that's same by us. But like once he sees the doctor, she's like the only person he doesn't like cry around, which is
Mm-hmm.
weird, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting.
Well, they usually aren't like my pediatrician, for example, will mostly like talk to us, check her heart, usually check like, I don't know, she checks like within her diaper and only does like a few checks on her. So it's really not all that intrusive or invasive. I guess she's going in her diaper. But
Hmm.
like, in terms of like touching her and moving her around, it's generally not that bad. But I think already by the time we get to that point, she's like so
She's done.
distrusting, yeah, of like anybody that's coming in that room, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, our doctor has like a mouse stethoscope and like
Mhm. Oh,
I don't know, he
cute.
loves the mouse. And then she
Mhm.
always does like the ear light and she lets him like touch it and like so he loves
Mhm.
that. So then that like distracts him, but yeah, it's not
Yeah.
fun going.
Our doctor tries distracting too, and it didn't work. We even this time because we got her a doctor set, and we've been playing with it for a few months now. I think I got it for her for I can't remember, maybe Easter. But we took that with us to the doctors this time and hoping that she could like see, oh look, it's the same tools, but nah, that didn't help. Nope. Nope, nope,
No.
nope.
Aw.
But
We'll get
she
there.
weighs 19.5 pounds right now, which I thought like she was going to weigh much more. I want to know, what does Axel weigh?
Last time he went, he was 22.8.
Okay, because when I look at them, they don't look much different. But yeah, I was just curious.
It's probably just the boy versus girl thing. Like
Hmm.
girls tend to be a little bit more petite.
Yeah.
But he's getting a belly. It's interesting.
Yeah. I love
I'm
the
like, "Oh,
baby
okay."
belly.
Uh,
And then speaking of appointments, I had my 12-week checkup this week also.
woo woo.
And so, yeah, by the time this plays, I don't know what week I'd be at. But yeah, I had my 12-week checkup and everything was good. I mean, everything's been good with me. It's been, I don't want to say an easy pregnancy because I don't want to jinx it for one. And then two, I would say it hasn't been easy in terms of like tiredness. Like, I just feel, somebody put it on TikTok the other day and I was like, oh, this is so true. Where
Wait, is
it
it like a
feels
bag of cement?
Oh, I did see that one too. I did see and I
Oh, okay.
resonate with that one too. But the one that I really was like, yes, is like thinking about when you're a child and you've been running around all day in the sun and playing with the sun and you come back in and you feel so exhausted that you need to take a nap. Like that exhaustion that, you felt as a child at the end of like a sunny day outside is like how I feel all day. And especially around
Mhm.
like 2 o'clock, it hits me at 2 o'clock, like every single day.
Yeah, kinda like how you feel on vacation. You go lay out in the sun, do all that stuff, and then
Mhm.
you're like, "I need to take a midday nap." Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. So that's
But
how I
the
feel all
bag of
day.
cement was so funny,
Yes.
and I was just dying.
I
I'm
saw
like,
another
"Yes, that
girl
bag of
and I told Rob this the other day, but I saw another girl who was basically like, "You know what? I don't want my husband to feel what child labor feels like." She's like, "I don't care about that. I just want him to feel how tired I am right now."
Yes, yes, because it's a whole
Mm.
'nother level, especially when
Mhm.
they say, like, pregnancy tired versus postpartum newborn tired. Oh, there's such a difference.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, so we went in, everything's good. They did like a short little ultrasound and checked for the heart and everything looked good there
So
and
did
I
you
got
get to
my
see the baby?
I did. I got to see it. They
Okay.
didn't give me pictures, but I got to see a little bit cuz sometimes they do it in the OBGYN room and if I didn't have a scan scheduled, so that was always nice. I got to see. But everything's looking good. Got the anatomy scan scheduled for like 20 weeks, I think. So yeah, I'm excited.
Dang,
I know, it
that
feels
went
like
by
it's going kind of
fast.
quick.
It
I
is, it's
know.
already, like, well, 12 weeks this week or 13 this week?
12 this week. Crazy, crazy. What's going on with you?
We had water day this week at daycare. And so they always send out, like, remember, tomorrow's water day. Make sure your child has everything they need, whatever. I just didn't think that this applied to toddlers. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I just was thinking, no, okay. But then I said, does this apply to toddlers? And she said, yeah. So I'm like, okay. So I send him with all of his water day things and I get a picture of him. And it's literally like one of those like blow up sprinkler things that they
Uh-huh.
have. I thought they were like gonna bring in some special thing, but it was just like a blow up sprinkler. And it was tipped over. It was on the ground. And he's just standing there, just like arms down, not even smiling, just looking straight with the water going on him. I'm like, okay, I don't think we were a big fan of water today. Just like mute.
That is
I'm
so
like,
funny.
okay.
I want to see this picture.
I will send it to you. But yeah, it is interesting. And then we also they took Sharpies and they colored on a decorative bowl. So it's like a little bowl. You
Oh,
could probably
cute.
put like jewelry in it or whatever. And I'm like obsessed with it. Like it's literally just like 4 or 5 lines, but I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my god, it's so cute. Like it's like he made it. And then last, like my mom usually will get him from daycare, and she's like the other day, all she walks in, all the little kids are like, "Hi, hi, 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 hi." She's like, "Hi," and then you just see Axel, like he turns around, throws his water cup on the ground, starts running towards her, and just starts
Aw.
screaming, "Up, up, up!" Like this is mine, guys. I'm getting out of here. It's not for you. It's for me.
He's like, stop talking to my grandma.
Oh, it's just funny how things would take care. But yeah, yeah, we're liking it now. Things are going good.
Mhm.
We really like the toddler room. We get excited. We don't cry anymore.
Oh, good.
However, in his classroom, I did get notified that someone had pink eye, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Oh,
So we're
no.
just hoping we don't have pink eye. But yeah, so that's cool.
We Rob's been taking Eleanor to the library every Wednesday, and it's like a library story time, and there's a bunch of kids, so
Mhm.
they like read a book, they dance, and then they do like interactive play after. And I'm thinking this is honestly where she'll probably get sick for the first time because we still haven't
Mhm.
gotten sick.
Yeah, yeah, maybe with all the exposure to kids.
I kind of want to get her like first sickness out of the way, but then I'm like, well, maybe it'll be better when she's older, Like I don't have to.
I'm like, I was about to be like, yeah, you could just like expose Eleanor to Axel because I'm sure we have 15 million things.
Hmm.
But it's been good now that he's gotten past that initial like sickness, but also like a
Yeah.
lot of the infants just sat there and were in their own sickness, like at least the toddlers like
Yeah.
are running around and playing and yeah.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think I would prefer older. I wouldn't mind this age, I don't think, for her getting sick for the first time, like a year and a half. Like she knows how to blow her nose. She knows,
How
some
did
of
you
that.
teach
So
her
I
to
think
blow
it'll be
her
fine.
nose?
We have a book, so it's called I Can Do It Myself, which she's really obsessed with. She's like, myself, myself. And in the book, it says, when my nose is stuffy, I blow my own nose. And so we work on like doing that as we're reading it. So we go, blow.
Mm,
And so we've been learning how to like blow. Now, she hasn't had a real stuffy nose, so I don't know if it's like actually going to translate to her being able
yeah.
to like push the boogers out, but she's able to like blow and some things like do come out sometimes. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Hmm.
I got Axel to blow out of his mouth, but I didn't get him to blow out of his nose yet. So maybe
It's
I should
probably
do
coming.
that. Get the book.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she really likes these books. It's a set of 4 books that I got from Scholastic. It's my mom, because my mom works at the daycare. You could probably go through
Yeah, they
Scholastic with
had a
your daycare.
fair. Yeah,
Hmm.
I didn't get anything, but they had a fair recently.
Yeah, but these ones are really cute. I'll send you the pack that I got.
But we have an update to share. What is our update, Megan?
So, we are actually going to start moving to bi weekly postings instead of weekly postings. We found that this summer was extremely busy. And at one point, we were like way ahead. And now we're like almost behind. So, we're going to start
Yeah.
posting bi weekly. I think we know that I'm pregnant and I'm going to have a baby in February. So, we're hoping to get kind of ahead so that we could still post throughout my maternity leave. And then we're hoping, fingers crossed, that Alyssa is also pregnant and something similar. So fingers crossed. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna move to biweekly postings starting today.
Yeah. And we want to be able to give you the best content, make sure we're focusing on it instead of rushing. So we felt that this was the best, especially with going back to school, the holidays coming up, and of course, Megan's baby. So that's our
Hmm.
plan.
Yep. Well, welcome everybody to the Mom Era podcast. My name is Megan.
And I'm Alyssa.
Today, we are talking about childproofing. So, as first time toddler moms, we're experiencing firsthand the needs to childproof your home. So, there's so much to childproof your stairs, your toilets, your cabinets, even the food. It's all been a challenge.
Yes, yes. It's been a major challenge over here too. But ensuring home is safe is critical, especially because you let your toddler just roam, explore their environment, learn about what they're doing in their home, learn about what things can do in the home. So ultimately, there's always places that are not childproof that you take your kid to, and you end up in this situation. It is good to know specific areas to keep an eye out for when starting to childproof your home or to look for when you go to other people's homes that are not childproof or public places.
Yeah. I like what you said about our toddlers are in exploration mode and we want to give them the space and safety to do that in our homes safely.
Hmm.
So, like being able to childproof so they can kind of roam and you don't constantly have to keep your eye on them, even though supervision is a huge part of childproofing. And it doesn't mean you can't supervise your kid, but I think that's like hugely important, especially for this stage.
Yeah, and I think they learn a lot of, oh, if I do this, this happens, and
Hmm.
this causes this to happen. So I feel like childproofing allows you to do that safely without having to like basically like safeguard your child
Mhm.
all the time.
Yeah, or be like a helicopter mom, which I feel like
Yeah.
is not good for their development anyways. Okay, so let's talk about understanding when to childproof your home. So I think there are a bunch of stages as to when you childproof and how much you have to childproof. But basically, when your child can roll over, you need to be able to place them in a secure area. For example, no more bouncer swings and not just on the floor with like not blocking stairs or heavy items. So once they can roll over, once they can start crawling, you have to think about, oh, hey, I need a safe space for them to be on the floor without things in the way that they could potentially roll over on. Or even like once they're rolling over and like starting to grab things, like making sure there's not like little toys in the area. But yeah, crawling is another one. So making sure they have an area to crawl in that's safe, but also moving items from the floor that you don't want them to get into. This was a big one when she started crawling because I don't know about you, but like cord organization is one of like the worst things in our house. So we have like a lamp and then we have a bunch of things that are plugged into the outlet and we had like a power strip. So I had to buy like this childproofing box where you put the outlet in it or the power strip in it and then you can
Oh,
like lock it. So that's been good. I actually started that more recently cuz even as a crawler she wasn't as interested as she is and everything now that she's a walker. But that was a big one. So just making sure that safe area they can crawl in and things are pulled away onto the counters where they should be. And then I think standing and walking, this is like when it gets real intense with
yeah.
childproofing. And this is, another stage. So now everything in their height is fair game. So not just the floor, you're getting everything from floor to where they can reach their little hands. So you want to keep things like the toilet shut, large items that can tip over. Attached to the wall is like super critical. So like making sure their dressers are attached to the wall. I think the big thing for us is like in the kitchen, she always wants to touch the knobs on our
Oh,
our
yeah.
stove. So I think we might have to start getting something to put there. But yeah, those are the three stages you really have to think about. So rolling over when the child can crawl, and then when they're standing up and walking.
My sister-in-law asked me if I needed those for the stove, but our stove we don't have them that low, like they're up high.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know. I wonder if she still has them or if she still needs them because she had like duplicates or whatever. But yeah, no, that's a big thing.
Yep.
I would say the worst or most intense part for us was the walking. When I mean, Axel didn't really roll around super early. Like I feel like it took him a while to like really be mobile on the floor, so I could just put him in that little box playpen thing. And then even when he did crawl, the biggest issue was the stairs from the house that we lived
Yeah.
in. But now that he's walking around, he opens the cabinets, throws all the bowls on the ground. He gets into the sprays. The other day, he took his little cup and dipped it in the toilet and then tried to drink the
Oh
water.
no, ew.
And then was trying to put his toothbrush in the toilet. I think I need to work on the toilet first. He pulls knives out of the
Oh
dishwasher. I'm like,
no.
"Stop, stop, stop." Like, I'm constantly like and then, the other day, he tried to get Giraffe out of his crib, and when he can't reach it, he gets pissed off and stands there and screams until you come get it for him. Well, he started to reach on top of the crib and, like, try to pull himself up on it, and I'm like, "Oh my word."
Oh
So, yeah,
no.
I think that one's the hardest for me.
Yeah, that was the hardest for me too. We were similar where Eleanor I mean, she didn't crawl until later and
Mm,
even then I wouldn't even say she really got into much that she shouldn't. It was when she was more at the standing walking stage that she started to get really interested in the things that were more her height. Now we haven't had any issues with the toilet luckily, but the stairs are a huge one. I mean, we have
yeah.
two sets of stairs in our house as a tri-level and she is constantly wanting to bolt. So when she was able to start walking, we had to get a barrier against the stairs from like our lower level to our middle level. And we also had to get a barrier because I wasn't comfortable with our fireplace because it was like real brick. So we barriered that also. But yeah, the cords have been a big one. She's been really interested in those cords. So I had to do that. She's been interested in the outlet covers. So I had to put all those on. I think the one positive thing, not that I hate my house, but I just am not a huge fan of the tri level. I think the one positive thing is I would say, she doesn't have easy access to the kitchen at all times. So it's not like she's like getting into that space unless Rob and I are up there and we're generally like nearby in that case. But yeah, once Eleanor was able to walk, we really were like, okay, it's time to start thinking about this stuff, which we have a lot more to do in terms of childproofing.
Yeah, honestly, the only thing I've childproofed is the gate to the stairs and the outlets, because that's the only
Mhm.
thing he was interested in, was putting his fingers in.
Okay, well, let's talk about a few areas, a few key areas to childproof within your home. So, the first is the kitchen. So, you're going to want to cover your stove knobs if they're at a height where your child can reach them. You'll want to secure cabinets with cleaning supplies. I know a lot of people keep cleaning supplies under their sink. You'll want to make sure that any drawers with knives or things, utensils that they could harm themselves with, are not accessible. You'll want to be able to keep them out if you are using the stove and it's hot. So, kind of securing the area while you're cooking. And then a living room. This is another big one. I mean, this is where we spend most of our time. So, making sure you are anchoring your furniture if this is a room you're going to leave them in unassisted, unsupervised. Make sure you're covering the electrical outlets, putting, your cords in a box or organizing them so they can't get into it, keeping them away from the fireplace if that is a hazard within your home. And then the bedrooms is using safety gates, securing their dressers and bookshelves to the wall or any furniture that could be a potential tipping risk.
In bathrooms, you want to lock medicine cabinets and secure toilet lids. This is when I talked about that we really need to secure the toilet lid. These are the main areas in your home that you'll want to childproof. I don't know if you have any issues with any of them specifically.
Um, I mean, there's offenders in all areas, I would say.
Hmm.
Like I said, the stairs are the biggest ones for us. To me, it's like anything she can really fall on, like the stairs, the fireplace. So we use a lot of safety gates. Now, when I think about her bedroom, like I will really intentionally childproof that because she's not in her bedroom without us. So once she moves to a toddler bed or a big girl bed or whatever that looks like, we'll probably secure the dressers, the bookshelves, whatever it is, to the wall so that we don't have to worry about her waking up and doing something and it tipping over. Bathrooms, I mean, we haven't really had to do anything in bathrooms. I think something we have to think about in the future is making sure our medicine is secure and making sure she can't get into like the cleaning chemicals. So I'll probably have to put some locks on the cabinets and probably figure out a place for the medicine to go that's more safe.
Hmm.
Right now we just keep it in our closet, which she can't get to. So maybe it is fine there. I'm just thinking like
Long term.
when she gets a little bit older and curious. I don't know. I don't know what that'll look like.
Yeah. Yeah. They're all good areas, though.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot. So I want to discuss some more essential childproofing products. So safety gates are a big one. So, to block access to stairs and other dangerous areas. Ones I wish we would have gotten or thought of to put on our registry, which we got a bunch, and I just wish I could change them now that we're about to put them in. But you can buy ones with like little cat doors
Mm.
and ours do not have that, and I wish they did because I don't know what that and that's why I've been, like, hesitating putting it up because I don't wanna, like, block the cats from getting into certain areas, but I do wanna make sure that Eleanor is safe, so that's something I have to either think about to see if I can get them to work, if the cats can jump over, I don't know. I don't know yet.
Yeah, we have a cat door in ours.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish we would have had that. So doorknob covers I thought were an interesting one. So to prevent them from opening a door to get to a dangerous area. Now Eleanor like can start with the doorknob and she can't turn it. There's nowhere in our house that I wouldn't want her to go, but maybe if it's like, you don't want them to go into the bathroom, you could put that doorknob cover and it can prevent them from getting into certain areas. I also thought the window guard was interesting because we do live in a tri-level, so we do have like an upstairs, and that can prevent them from like opening or falling out of the window, which I never really thought of. And I was like, oh shoot, I don't know if this is something I would need to do. Our windows upstairs are actually really high off the ground, so I don't even think we could get to it or Eleanor could get to it where she's like could come out of the window. But it is something to think about if your window is in an area that the child could come out of. We talked about some of these other ones: outlet covers, anti tip straps. So, like we said, securing heavy furniture to the wall. The toilet locks. I don't even know what these look like. Do you know what these look like? I know it prevents them from like getting access to the water, but like, how does it lock it?
I think it locks the lid to the toilet, so that they can't like
Oh,
lift it
okay.
up. My friends told
Yeah.
me to get them, but I haven't looked into it yet. But I'm sure they have
Yeah.
them out there.
We put like those bleach tablets in our toilets because my toilets, I need to clean out the back of it because there's a lot of mold spores. So it just like comes into our toilet bowl. So I put bleach in it. So I'd be like super nervous for her to like get into it, but she hasn't been curious yet.
Yeah. I mean, we had to clean ours out because it had a lot of iron rust in there. So we cleaned them all out and got all that bacteria out, and now we have the clean water. But yeah, now it's just like, let's go over there and splash it. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I think the carbon monoxide is a good one though, the detector, and
Hmm.
making sure all the smoke detectors have batteries, because that's like the worst fear, that you would be in a situation where it wouldn't go off and you couldn't get to your kid.
And does your house, okay, so my parents' house, we had a smoke detector in everybody's bedroom.
Hmm. So
Do
do
you have
we.
that in yours? Okay.
Yeah.
My house is really weird. So we only have one. We literally only have one upstairs and it's like right outside my bedroom. And then we have one downstairs that's in like downstairs. So on our lowest level, we have one that's like in what we call like our laundry area that has a furnace and stuff, but there's none anywhere else. So I think I need to install some like in each bedroom, probably
Hmm.
one in the kitchen or like near the kitchen area. But I found it really odd that this house doesn't really have smoke detectors.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would definitely install them in each room, just from a
Hmm.
peace of mind standpoint.
Yeah. Hmm.
We also wanted to talk about choosing reliable products and installing them correctly, because even though there's all those ways that you can secure and childproof, you want to make sure that they're installed correctly so that they accurately work and that they're reliable. So you want to look for products with high ratings, positive reviews from other parents, reliable brands that often have a reputation. Check for safety certification from recognized organizations, so such as ASTM International or JPMA. We want to read the instructions carefully, because I'm the type of person that always just, oh, this goes together, and then doesn't read the instructions. Be on the lookout for product recalls. So the way that I did this with all the baby things too is I just always filled out that registration so I would get
Yeah.
notified of a recall. The Consumer Product Safety Commission website is a good source to double check each product that you have for a recall. And then ensure each product is age appropriate for your child's development. So obviously, as they age, there's different products that are age appropriate, and you want to pay attention to that, or something that they could grow out of, things like that.
Yeah. I honestly think the hardest part about shopping for even toys lately, because I'm like really nervous about lead in toys and that safety aspect, because a lot of the toys we buy online is from like third parties. So you buy from Amazon, but it's like a third
Hmm.
party and you don't really know where it's coming from. And so what I've been trying to do lately is really only buy from like reliable brands that I know of, have heard of, that have a good reputation, that is known for not having things like that. I just feel like there's so much BS out there nowadays. And I think too, like it's so easy to just like buy the cheapest product and then it break or it have some type of safety issue. So I think really those 2 points you talked about is super important, like making sure it's a reliable brand and good ratings.
And it's so stupid that as mothers we even have to like think about that. Like they should just
Right?
be, oh, it's for a kid and a baby, like it should be safe, it should be okay. Like what?
I thought it was like literally my whole life I thought the world was like that, but it's just not.
It's
You
not.
have to be so diligent, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, we've talked mostly about safety within the home, but there's also proofing and safety outside the home. So we briefly want to touch on child-proofing strategies for outdoor areas, such as gardens where your child's playing, if you have like an outdoor playground. So, something that's important is secure fencing. And if you don't have fencing, then you probably need to supervise your child, especially at such a young age. But if you don't have fencing and you have the money to do so, installing a sturdy fence is paramount. I don't know what I would do without a fence. Like we have our garage is detached, so we have like a fence that we can close so that literally she has no access to the road. Like I can know that she's staying in our backyard and she's safe. And you can get child-proof locks also for outdoor spaces. So, if you want to make sure that they don't have access to the grill or to the fire pit, reducing access to the road obviously is a huge one. Another one is age appropriate play equipment, making sure that's age appropriate, it's securely attached and anchored to the ground, and then inspect for wear and tear if it's your own equipment and if you're going somewhere else. But another thing to do is use soft ground coverings like rubber mats, mulch, or sand under the play equipment. Something else is removing potential hazards like sharp tools, chemicals, toxic plants, just making that space safe for them to roam and explore. I sometimes try to because my gardening is like so out of control right now, my weeds. Like I was outside with her yesterday and I had my shears, and I just always have to make sure that when I'm like trying to pay attention to her or I'm done with them, I'm putting them in a place where she can't like get to them. I've also been very diligent about the chemicals. Like, and this is why our weeds are so bad. We live like right up against a wooded area, and I don't feel comfortable anymore now that Eleanor's like playing outside, spraying all the chemicals to like kill the weeds.
Hmm.
So we've been using less of that, and I need to try to find safer remedies to be able to handle those because they're out of control.
Apple cider
And then
vinegar.
does it
Apple
work?
cider vinegar. Yeah, well, so I usually put it out for the flies to go into, and then anytime I pour it on the
Hmm.
grass or the weeds, it just like kills it immediately. So
Oh,
that
I'll
will
have
kill
to
it.
try that. Okay, I'll buy
Yeah.
some. Another huge one is pool safety. We've talked about this a few episodes ago, but just making sure if you do have a pool, it's gated, it latches automatically when you close it. You could also get a pool alarm or a cover. So when the pool isn't in use, you're alerted if something happens. So pool safety is super, super important if you have one. And then if you also have trampolines, it's good to have those safety nets. And trampolines is something you need to supervise at all times. I would say pool too if they're using it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have two things to add to this. So that access to the road, it's like once they start deciding they can run and walk fast, they just like book it towards like wherever they want to go, and
Yes.
sometimes they don't know that that's the road. But if you live in the middle of nowhere like I do, you don't have that issue. um
Yeah.
you do have to worry about like animals or like bugs, so things like that I always double check. And then the pool alarm, I wanted to say something about that. So I did not know there was such thing as like a pool alarm until I had gone
Hmm.
to Florida earlier this year, and they had one on the house. So like every time you open the door, it would go off. It was so loud. It's almost like scary because it sounds like a fire alarm, and
Yeah.
it just like beeps and beeps and beeps until someone presses the button, and you have to be an adult to press the button because you have to be tall. So that is really cool, but it's very obnoxious. Very obnoxious.
Better obnoxious than something happening.
Yeah. You also want to cover any childproofing that you need in vehicles. So, such as like child locks, you want to make sure the car seats are securely latched. You don't want to have like anything in the car that they could get into that is like, any tools or equipment or things like that that you're using specifically for the car. Window locks are good too, because if they can reach over and open the window. And then sunshades, I think, are good because that sun can creep in through the back window and just like blind your child and they'll freak out.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
I think another thing about vehicles and car seats that I learned recently, and I think I need to switch mine out, but I was reading, actually, I think it was an Instagram post from somebody who talks about just like safety within the car and car seat safety. And she did this post around, and I know you use a camera, but I have a mirror, and there are certain mirrors that are actually not safe because of their ability to detach. And so if you were to get in a car accident, that could detach and like obviously hit your child, which is not
Mm.
safe. And so they do have, and she sent me the link and I needed to look into it, but they have safer options. I don't know how that pertains to the camera, but she sent me safer mirror options that don't have that ability to detach. So I think I'm just going to buy two of them since I'm going to
Oh.
have the second baby and just use the two. I thought about getting the camera too.
Oh, I love the camera. It's only like $20.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like securely attached to the head rest. So there's no
Right.
coming
And it's all
off.
like one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's like I will never go back.
Yeah.
I don't even have anything to say. I will never use a mirror and try to like look and move around when I can just see everything my baby's doing in that little camera.
I think she likes the mirror though, because she can see me, like, because she's rear
Yeah, my mom
facing.
has the camera or the mirror so she can see, or Axel
Hmm.
likes to look at himself, but I'm like, no, I want to
Yeah.
see exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't want to be swerving trying to see you because that's what I did when I first had the
Uh-huh.
mirror. I was like, we're not doing this. Goodbye.
It is kind of a lot because it's not even like you get a good view looking in the mirror to the mirror. You like have to turn back, which I'm
Yeah, you
sure
have
is
to
not
like
safe.
look really hard to look to see in the mirror. That's what I don't like about it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, if you switch it out, let us know. But if you go for the camera, I'm all about the camera. You probably will be life changed and never go back if you
I know.
have a.
I probably will too. I mentioned it to Rob at one point. He's like, "Why?" So I might have some convincing to do if we want to go that route.
Austin ended up getting one for his car because he didn't want to not have it and not be able to look at
Oh, I
anything.
love
It's like,
that.
oh,
Cute. So, the last area we want to discuss is just the importance of supervision and education. We really want to stress the role of us as the adults in supervising, like being the ones to really prevent the accidents. So, as much as we can childproof an area, it really doesn't take away the fact that we still need to supervise and be there and guide and that kind of thing. I think also what's really important is just providing that real time guidance and teaching the children how to interact safely with their surroundings and reinforce those safe behaviors. Because as much as we can supervise, as much as we can childproof, we also want to give our children the tools to be able to recognize like this is safe, this isn't on their own, being able to like navigate life in a safe way. So I think that's
mhm,
also a really important role of ours. And then we also want to use areas where children should not touch to show them not to touch or use it. So again, it's just teaching your children like this is safe, this is not. So for example, if the oven is hot, the fire pit is also hot. So show them that's too hot for them to touch. That's something we've been actually teaching Eleanor with the stove as she knows hot. She's like, that's hot. Now, we haven't really been by a fire pit, but we also have been saying things like, we're doing this because it keeps Eleanor safe. And now she really attached her helmet to the word safe. So anytime I say something about her being safe, she says helmet, which is just really funny because I'll say, "Oh, I'm putting on sunscreen to keep your skin safe." And she's like, "Helmet." I'm like, "Yes, the helmet keeps your head safe when you ride your bike."
yeah, I've done this with like food for Axel. Like, I'll tell him that his food is hot and I teach him to blow on it, and then I'll give it to
Mhm.
him and he'll go to touch it and it'll be hot and I'm like, "Yes, hot." Like, like obviously it's
Yep.
not burning his skin, but it's still like too warm for him to eat and he'll
Mhm.
like then grab something else. So, I'm teaching him also that way.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's everything for our topic. We just wanted to cover childproofing, how it happens inside the home, outside the home, in public places, at other people's homes. I know I literally have gone to other people's homes and or Axel will just like pull things out of their cabinets. I'm like, no, this is not our home. We do not do that here.
Yes.
So it's just important to always be supervising your child and making sure they're in a safe environment. But I think we should go into our mom eras. What mom era are you in?
Okay, so we've been in this stage for a little bit, but uh, Eleanor, she is in such a mama mode. Like, mama, she only wants me. And what's really funny is like if I have Eleanor, so for example, I took her to my parents' campground for a day. If I have her all day, like she's so good, she's perfect. If Rob has her, like Rob took her, to the library, he has her not near me and everything is great. But then like when we're together as a family, she's just like attached to my hip and is just like mama mama.
Hmm.
And I know Rob feels bad about it. He wants to help. Two, it doesn't feel good when you're constantly being rejected by your child.
Yeah.
And we're just like fully in this stage right now where she just wants me all the time, and it's very taxing on all of us. As much as I like love that baby and I want to be wanted, like it just puts so much more pressure. And yeah, the mama mode. And I know the thing is we go through these stages, right? So we go through these stages of like being the preferred parent and going through these like really attachment phases, but I feel like this one's been like the worst one for some reason.
Hmm.
And
Maybe she
yeah,
knows you're
yeah.
pregnant. She knows that there's a baby in there and she wants all of you now.
Maybe we were talking to the pediatrician about it, and she basically said that 18 months is such a huge time for that attachment phase to like really kick in. So she said it's very common, and 18 months is like the time. I'm like, great.
Yeah, yeah. I would say, I mean, Axel does that a lot too. Like, he always, when we're together, he always wants me to hold him or he wants up with me.
Mhm.
I have noticed he wants more of like being involved in what I'm doing. So I really want to find one of those toddler things to help him be involved with when I'm cooking or something. Cause that's usually when he
Oh,
gets mad. He
yeah, me
wants me to
too.
hold him while I'm cooking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun.
It's fun. It's stressful.
Yeah.
Like being wanted is very stressful.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially that you're pregnant and you're tired and yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, it's a lot.
Well, my mom era is we are still in like technically the 2-week wait for the IVF update. So we would find out in a little bit by blood work if it worked. And then I will let everybody know once we hear back from blood work. And kind of what they do after
Yay.
that is they'll do blood work to start, like, and then they'll want to see, make sure it doubles. So they kind of like scare you
Mhm.
because they're always like, okay, you know, when you go in, you're at that point you should have a positive pregnancy test or not at
Right.
home. But they'll do blood work, and then if it's positive, then they'll want you to come back again in 2 days to make sure it doubled. So then they'll do it again. So that's how they did it with Axel. So we will see.
They do it
Hopefully,
3 times?
yes. Hopefully, it's positive
Oh.
when I do go in the next week or so. And yeah, but we'll see. But that's the whole thing. It's like even though if it is positive or if it's negative, whatever, even if it is positive, they still want to keep having you come, which makes you even more anxious because you're like, okay, well, what if it doesn't double, or
Mhm.
what if it? So I'll keep y'all updated, but we're still in
Right.
the 2-week wait, the dreaded 2-week wait. So yeah,
Oh, we love the 2-week wait. But then, like, I feel like, honestly, I've been better this time around, but it doesn't always get better because it's like, yeah, you're pregnant, but you haven't seen the baby yet. And then you got to
yeah,
see the baby. And it's
yeah,
like, oh.
yeah.
But
And
we're
now
going to be
that you've
so
seen
excited
them,
once you find out.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So fingers crossed, sending all the good vibes. Hopefully we're pregnant, but we'll find out in the next week. So I'll keep y'all updated.
Yep, I need to go through this with you again.
Go through. Oh, I was like, go through
Being
what?
pregnant.
You're like pregnant.
You're like, "Go through what?" Yeah, being pregnant.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Mom Era podcast. We hope you have a good week and follow us on Mom Era _ podcast on TikTok or Instagram. And feel free to reach out to us via email at momerapodcast@gmail.com. Have a good week. I think I said that twice.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a really good week.
Yeah, like times 3.